Thank you, Maria Gracia, and good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen and let's start. Okay. Let me see something here. Okay, so for today, we are going to be reviewing how to use the code review that now is called a solution checker. But basically, it's a functionality that allows me to validate that my customization are working properly. The main topics for today are going to be some general concepts, how to run the solution checker. And after that, I'm going to be explaining how the solution checker's states work. Then how to review the solution checker report and some best practices rules used by the solution checker that you need to keep in mind. As a general concept, Microsoft Power Apps includes a functionality that allows you to do that analysis to validate that your customization are working properly. That validation is going to be on managed solutions. That means that you could validate that all your customizations are working properly or that are defined according to the standards. So the idea is that before pass any customization to the production environment, you must validate that all the customizations are working properly. And I know that probably it sounds kind of technical, but if you are a customer and you want to be sure that all the customizations that you are receiving from a partner are according to at least the minimum standards, it's a good idea try to just execute the customer review, the code review, I mean the solution checker, and validate that all the customizations that you are receiving are according to the minimum standards defined by Microsoft. So that's why I wanted to include this topic today, because even that looks like something technical, it's something that you as a customer must know and must be able to execute to understand if the delivery that you are receiving from a partner or from an internal implementer are according to the standards. Okay, this functionality previously was known or formally known as CodeReview. It's now included directly in the Power Apps under the name Solution Checker. And basically, and as I mentioned, the idea is validate that all the customizations that you are receiving and that you are working are properly configured. What can I review with the solution checker? So basically, with the solution checker, I could review plugins. I could review custom workflow activities and some HTML and JavaScripts. And additionally, I could review some configurations such as SDK message steps that basically are related to the plugins. But I mean, the solution checker works with unmanaged solutions and allows you to review all these elements. As I mentioned before, it's something that as a customer, you need to know, because when you receive something from your partner, you're not sure of, I mean, there's not many elements that allows you to identify that the solution that you are receiving are according to the standards, or at least the minimum requirements defined by Microsoft. So that's a good option to understand or to know that is according to the standards. Okay, next one, I'm going to explain you how to run the solution checker. Basically, you need to go to the Power Apps Admin Center, and in the left panel, you need to identify the solution that you want to validate. Okay, that's another thing that it's not part of this training. I mean, it's not part of this webinar, but I want to just highlight is that when you customize CRM, when you customize the CRM, always is a good idea try to define groups of functionalities of basically solutions. So the idea with this solution, in my case, I have at least 9 solutions here. I have web resources separated, customizations, extensions, workflow, Power Automates, reports, security, apps, and portals. That's my way to work. Sometimes there are some implementers or some consultants that prefer has just one, like customizations or the name of the partner or something like that. But in my experience and based on many different projects that I worked before with Microsoft, the, the, the structure that they suggest is something similar like this one, based on components and based on the priority and the prerequisites of the component. So that's a good way to work. So what I am just saying is that in my case, all the JavaScripts are in web resources, and all the modifications or customization on the entities are on the customization solution. And all the plugins and custom activities are on extensions. Okay, so why I'm explaining that? Because when you go to the solution checker, you need to define what solution do you want to review. It means that if you work in a disordered way, I mean, if you go directly to customization and enter to customize the system and you don't customize and you don't include all the customizations in a solution, what is going to happen is that later you are not going to be able to validate your customizations because are not included in a solution. So as I mentioned before, always is a good option, always is a good recommendation. Have everything in one solution, at least one solution, but try to keep the model something like this. Okay. Okay, let's continue with the presentation. So you need to go to the Power Apps portal. Then I'm going to be doing that later. And then you need to run the solution check. Okay. After that, or I mean, during the execution, you are going to see a message in the top of the screen that says solution checker running. And then you are going to be able to see the result. Okay, so let's do that before before continue. So you need to go to makepowerapps.com, and there you need to change to the environment that you want to evaluate or that you are going to be working on. In my case, I'm going to be working in the Optimus demo base. That is the environment that I'm using at the moment. Then I need to go to solutions, and here you will see all the solutions that you have configured in your system. In my case, I have a lot of solutions here, so I'm going to be just reviewing the important ones, or at least the solution that I am going to be reviewing, that are these ones, the 9 that are here, have here. And if I want to run that, I have to click here and just solution checker, and you click on run. Okay, that's the way to run the solution checker. You have to do it per solution. That means that you need to do it each by one. It's not something, I mean, probably you could just check it here, but I mean, you cannot select more than one. So that's why you need to do it by one by one. Give me a second, please. Okay, so after execute the solution checker, you are going to receive here a message that says that the result was already completed. It's going to tell you the time, and it's going to allow you to see the result. Okay, so what are the states that you could have here? That's the next slide. Basically, you are going to have, let me try to, I don't want to, okay, let's do this. Okay, what are the states that you are going to be able to see there? You are going to see that hasn't been run. That means that never is executing. You are going to be on running. Later, you are going to be couldn't be completed. Sometimes, if something happened, if the process takes some load time or something like that, the process could finish in couldn't be completed, and you need to rerun again. If you get the results, you're going to get a message like result as and a date, like the example that I just showed you previously, that I received the results and indicates when was I received it. And then if you couldn't be completed, but you receive some results, you are going to have that state. And if it's something that Microsoft already checked, it's going to be checked by Microsoft. For example, there are some internal solutions that Microsoft provide. Probably they are going to have this message. And if you get something third party or some solution from another publisher, probably is going to be checked by the publisher. Okay, so when can I see that? So if you enter to the portal, to the Power Apps Admin Center, you're going to see that stage just right here in the right side. Checked by the publisher, solution checked by the publisher, checked by the publisher. Probably there are going to be some checked by Microsoft. There are some others that probably hasn't been run yet, like for example this one, because I just run the three ones, these three ones. So that's the way to identify if the solution checker was run and when was run. So for example, in my case, if I just review this, it was run today, and it was like 1 hour ago. So what it means is that, for example, this is something that if you are continuously in improving your system, is something that you need to do it frequently. So my suggestion is that before pass something to production or to the environment, you need to run this and be sure that all the results are correct. Okay, that's that's my suggestion. Okay, how can I see the results, or what can I do with the result? Okay, so what I'm saying here is that with the solution checker, when the solution checker is complete, you can review and analyze the report in the portal. How to do it? You need to go to the solution, identify the solution that you want to review the result, and then you just need to click on detail. Let's do this directly in the system. So for example, here I have the web resource app, web resource solution, sorry. I have to click here and I have to click on the solution checker and I could click in view results. So what I'm getting here is a list with all the problems that the solution checker identify in the system, in the customization. For example, in my case, I leave something, I just leave it something for the exercise in one JavaScript. The JavaScript name is OPT case JavaScript. And if I click here, the system is going to tell me that I am using an instruction that is going to be the debugger. The debugger was detected and it's telling me that do not ship the debugger help code in production source. So what it's telling me is that you should include instructions like debugger in a JavaScript if you want to pass that to production environment. Okay, it's going to tell you what is the issue. It's going to tell you how to fix the issue, and it's going to give you a link that you could review to try to understand why it is a problem. And additionally, it's going to tell you the location, and sometimes, and I should highlight it, sometimes it's going to tell you the line. Okay, why should I highlight the line? Because sometimes, for example, in the plugins or in the custom entities, custom activities, it's not going to tell you the line. It's going to tell you that the component, but probably it's not going to tell you the line. But in the JavaScript, always is going to give you the line. Okay, so this is a really easy way to identify the problems. It's just one issue, but I mean, if you execute that in your system and you get more than 5 problems, probably something that you need to validate. Okay, let's pass for a moment to this other environment because I have some other examples there. And I want to show you what's happening with that. For example, here in the extensions, if I execute the view results, I'm going to get some additional, for example, in this case, this one is a plugin. It's a custom activity, custom action activity. But basically works as a plugin. It's a C# code. And I have the same problems 3 times in the same component. And as you can see here, it's telling me that you're trying to evaluate the use of all columns in a column set constructor. And you can see here the whole list of the complete guide that is going to explain you why it's an issue. But it's not going to tell you the line. Okay, so what you should do here is that probably you need to identify where you are accessing to the whole column set, and identify why do you need that, what it means. Let's try to understand a little bit more this problem. If you have a query expression or like a query in your code, and you, for example, try to get an opportunity, for example, in my case, I'm going uh, hi, do you hear me? Sorry, I had some issues with my audio. I don't know why.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jorge.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen again and let's continue. So basically, what I was telling you is that you could go directly to the solution checker. Let me see that here. Okay, so what I'm just presenting you here is that in a plugin, there is some issues with some elements, and you need to identify where is the problem. So for example, in this case, as the message say, you are trying to access in a query, you are trying to access to all the whole columns. So that's something that Microsoft don't recommend. So Microsoft recommend that if you are doing a query, you need to specify what columns do you want to access, because it's not a good idea trying to retrieve all the columns if probably is something that you are not going to be using. So that's why this message appear, because it's not a good practice. And it's going to tell you that probably you need to evaluate if you are going to access that. Why do I want to bring this example? Because in my case, I know that is not a good practice, but as you can see here, I am using a custom activity or a custom action that is going to be an opportunity clone. And if I want to clone an opportunity, probably I need access to all the columns in the opportunity, to all the fields. So that's why I have whole access or full access to my opportunities. So in this case, even that the solution checker is telling me there is a problem, I could define that is something that I want to do it. Okay. I just have to keep in mind that the solution checker is telling me that it has a severity high, and that it's going to take a performance impact that is going to be really high. So probably I need to validate that and be sure that, I mean, that I'm going to do it in that way, or probably I need to change it and specify the columns that I want to do it. Okay. So that's another example to validate that. Okay. You could download the results it's going to be in an Excel file. Probably it's a good idea to validate that or to review it with more details. For example, let me open the file. Uh, so it's going to show you some charts, and it's going to tell you, and it's going to give you all the records here. You can just filter, and it's a good option to validate and to confirm that everything is working well. So as I mentioned before, always a good idea, execute this process before pass something to production environment. You don't want that these kind of things in your production environment. It's going to affect your performance, and probably is going to have some effects that you don't want it. So always try to execute this before pass to the production environment. Okay. After that, I have the how to export it. That basically is just download here, and it's going to be a zip file. In the zip file, you are going to see two elements. Let me open the zip file and show you that. You are going to see that you are going to receive a CSV file, and the Excel file as well. So you could use it as you need. The X file, the Excel file is going to have with the charts, and the other one is just going to be the list. Okay. Okay. So what kind of things you could identify with the solution checker? That's something important that probably I'm going to present you in this way. You're going to be able to identify some plugins or workflow activities problems, like the one that I presented before, that it was the IL specified columns. That means that you should avoid selecting all the columns via a database query. So it means that try to don't query all the columns on all the fields in an entity. That's a problem or a best practice rule that the solution checker is going to try to prevent. You are going to receive something related with the meta remove dump regs, that is avoid duplicate database plugin registration. That means that if for some reason you register a plugin twice, it's going to tell you that it's not a good practice and it's going to give you that warning. And in the same way, you are going to find a lot of things here. Okay, basically, there is a lot of problems that the solution checker is going to identify. I just wanted to put here the problems that are going to be related with plugins or with workflow activities. Like, for example, it's going to tell you that you shouldn't be retrieving unpublished metadata. That means that if you're trying to access to an entity that is not published yet, it's going to tell you that you have a problem there. It's going to tell you, for example, that you are trying to remove an inactive configuration. Um, if you are trying to use a deprecate message, it's going to tell you that you are using something that is deprecated. For example, let me see, if in a plugin you try to use the previous message to assign a record or to change the status that has a specific message before, it's going to tell you that it is already deprecated, that now you need to use just like an update. And it's going to tell you that it's something that you shouldn't be using because it's already deprecated and it's going to affect your performance. Okay, in the same way, you're going to receive many different things related to that. And it's always a good idea try to review and validate that everything is working according to the standards. Additionally, in the web resource, that basically are the JavaScripts and the HTTP components like web resources or like pages. The CRM is going to, I mean, the solution checker is going to validate that all that components are working properly. For example, it's going to tell you that if you are using
Hi, Jorge. We can hear you right now. Please, can you check your audio again?
hello, do you listen me? Yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
we can hear you again.
okay, then we have some Canvas app messages that probably could prevent us to do some specific things. For example, if you're using some Canvas app and you are trying to refer some additional details or you are trying to do some functionalities that the system identified that probably are going to send or are going to represent some performance issues, you are going to receive messages like this one. For example, limit the number of app controls for improved performance. If you are using a really crowd screen, probably you are going to receive that kind of messages. Or, for example, if you are using AutoStar on players with apps, you are going to receive this message telling you that try to don't use AutoStar on players. So those are many different messages that you are going to be receiving in the solution checker, and that probably are going to prevent you to have many issues with your system with your platform, many performance issues, you could prevent that thing. So that's why I really want to encourage you to use the solution checker, because it's a really good stuff. I'm going to really quickly refresh how to use it. You just need to go to makepowerapps.com. Just select here the environment that you are going to be validating, and then select the solution that you want to validate. For example, in my case, I'm going to validate the web resource. Just click on run. You are going to be, you are going to see the running message here. And after you see that message, the process is going to finish, and it's going to be with this message, like for example, our result message. You just need to wait. It's not going to take too much. It executes really quick. You can see here the solution checker running, and when this message disappears, the process is going to be completed. Probably like this one. This is still in progress, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I can see here that is still in progress because it's telling me that I could cancel the execution, but I don't want to cancel, of course. And let's go again. It's going to get the result, and I just need to click here and select the view results, and I'm going to be able to see here the problems, the line, how to solve it. And if I click in get complete guide, I'm going to be redirected to a website that is going to explain me why that's a bad practice, and how to solve it. Okay, so again, it's a really good functionality. um, I'm gonna leave you with this instance. You could try it by yourself. You could go there. This is the CRM instance for demonstrations and for your training and for your exercises. So you could go there directly and try it by yourself. And if you have any question, or if you have any issue with this process or with something related with CRM, you could just always send me an email, and I will be able to help you or to guide you if it's something that is in my area. Okay. So thanks everyone for your time and for your participation. I hope that this information will be useful for you. And if you have any question or any comment, please let me know, and that I will be attentive for that. Thanks a lot for your time.